Alright, in this tutorial we're going to be looking at how to add images to your infographic to make it look a little bit more interesting and really get us some extra points for creativity. I'm going to look at how to add these two images that I've got on mine, the helium balloons and the hard drive over the O, to try to make the word storage a little bit more creative. So I'm going to go ahead and start by just taking those off and kind of walk you through the steps that it'll take to do something like that in your poster. First of all, you got to find an image on the internet. You're going to copy and paste. When you search for an image, you want to make sure that you find one that's rather large. As you put the mouse on the top of them, you can see the tiny numbers at the bottom. That tells you the size of the image. I'd say, depending on how large you want to put it on your poster, if it's just going to be a small picture on your poster, something like 500 or 800 is probably enough. If you're going to make it larger, though, we probably want to shoot for like 1,000 or more. So I like the shape of this one, though. I'm looking for something that replaces an O, so I want this straight on shot of the hard drive. Alright, so I like the way this one looks. So if I just right click on it and go to copy, I'm actually copying this small little picture of it. And if I bring that into PowerPoint and then try to enlarge it, it's going to look very blurry. So whenever you want to copy an image, you first need to click on it once and see the larger size picture. Sometimes you can even view original image to see it even larger. So I'm going to right click on it and now go to copy, and it's going to be copying this much larger file size. Then I go back to my PowerPoint and I can right click and paste. And when you paste a picture, you want to use the third one with a little mountain in the sun. So when I click on that, it's going to put my picture in my PowerPoint. And you can see if I zoom out here, my picture is actually bigger than my whole poster right now. So I need to fix that by grabbing the corner and resizing. You always want to resize with the corner. If you resize with the side, you can squash the image and kind of mess it up. You always want to resize with the corners. So now I'll zoom back in, and I need to move my picture up top. That is a frustrating thing with PowerPoint. It seems like it always puts the image whenever you paste something right into the middle, so you're just going to have to kind of get used to moving things around. But now I've got it back up here. And kind of nice thing actually, as I move it around, you can actually see through it a little bit. So I can see it's going to be a little bit larger than the O, and not exactly the right shape, but we will fix that in a minute. The first thing I want to show you with images, after you've resized them with the corner, is you can rotate them. In this case, we wouldn't really need to do that, but if you wanted to turn something, you put the mouse on top of the green button up at the top, and you can rotate it. But I'm just going to leave it straight up and down. And then we got to get rid of this white background around the image, because it's blocking out the rest of our letters. So you can do that by clicking on Picture Tools. Picture Tools will not be available if you haven't selected an image. So you notice it's not up here right now. I have to click on the picture first, then go to Picture Tools. And what we want to do is remove the background. That's over here on the side. And when you do that, your image shows up, and you've got these controls up here to mark areas to remove or areas to keep, and then keep the changes. The first thing I usually do, and I don't know why it always does this, but you need to usually stretch this back out to cover the whole image. And then like this little spot right here in purple, right now it's going to be removing that. So that's an area I want to keep. So I'm going to mark that with a plus. I want to keep that spot. Notice I had to do it twice. The first time it didn't quite keep it, but now it's back to a regular color. But this other area that I want to remove, I need to click on this area out here. Usually I do it a couple times just to make sure it knows what I want to take off. Now press Keep Changes, and you see I've got my hard drive now, but I can see the rest of my writing. Now that we can see the rest of the writing, I would recommend in this case probably shrinking it down a little bit more so that it's not covering up as much of the other letters. It would be okay if it covered up a little bit, but like the top of the O here is a little bit too high, so I would lower it down a little bit. And you just got to kind of move it around until it looks about where it should be. So I like that. Now it says Data Storage. The other image that I had added on here was some helium balloons to show that this section over here is talking about helium. So I found an image on the internet, on Google, for helium balloons. You can waste a lot of time looking for the perfect picture. I actually already did, trying to find a good one for this. So just try to find something that works. We can change it later if we have to, but don't spend more than maybe 5 minutes trying to find a good picture. One thing that helps when you're looking for a good picture is something with a white or black background. So I'm going to choose these balloons because there's nothing behind them. These balloons over here look great as well, except the sky has clouds and blue sky, and that would be a lot harder to remove that background. So I'm just going to take the one here that has just the white background, view the original image, and then I'm going to copy it. Now in this case you can see there's actually some words on the image. There are quite a few out there that have that on top of them. It's called a watermark. Normally we're not going to want to use that. I'm going to try to use this one and see if it works, but you may want to try to find one that doesn't have any writing on it. So I'm going to go ahead and copy the image, and then go back to my PowerPoint. Again, I'm going to right click and paste the picture, and it's going to put it back in the middle again. So I've got to drag it back up top, and I want to connect these balloons over here to this hard drive to make it look like it's lifting it up. So I'll do something like that. I'm probably going to resize. It does look a little bit too large, so I'll shrink that down and then put them back over there. And again, I need to remove my background. You can see it's going to be covering up a lot of this stuff on my poster. So I'll go to Picture Tools, Remove Background, and for some reason again I need to stretch that out to cover the whole image. And now I want to mark areas to remove. So I want to take off all this purple in the background, and let's see how that looks. So that looks okay, except I lost the strings, so it actually took those off as well. So we can try making some more adjustments to it. Mark areas to keep. We try some of these areas in here. Doesn't look like that's going to work very well though. In this case, what I would probably actually do, and I think what I did on my last one, was probably just draw in some lines. So instead of fighting with that for a long time, I can just go to Insert, Shapes. I'll just take a straight line, and I'll just draw a string from the balloon down to the hard drive. So I'll have to do that a couple times. Alright. So the next thing I need to show you how to do is change the layers. The first one, we wanted the hard drive to be on top of the letters because I want it to look like an O. But over here, I actually want the balloons to go behind the letters because I don't really want them on top. I want to be able to see the whole word. So to fix that, you can click on the words or click on the balloons, either way, and you need to change what's called the order. In this case, I'm going to do the balloons. So I'm going to right click on the balloons and go to Send to Back. You can send it all the way to the back, or you can send it back one layer at a time. In this case, I'm just going to send it all the way to the back. And now you can see that it's behind my letters, but it's actually also behind this dotted line. And I think I want it actually on top of the dotted line. So I'm going to click on it this time and bring forward, and I'll just do that until it's on top of this dotted line, like that. So I've shown you a few things here. Number one, how to just add images to a page, how to resize them by grabbing the corners, how to rotate them by grabbing the green circle, the green dot. We've talked about how to remove the background with the marking areas to remove and areas to keep, and click on Keep Changes. And how to change the layer of objects. Really important. Bringing it to the front, sending it to the back. That can really make your poster look a lot more interesting by having those different layers.